Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast. Lehr with me, your host Imperial Dane, this time taking a look at British openings, which is so far not hugely varied. Most of them will basically involve you going for like 3 to 4 sections in the early game, and then using the bolster infantry squad's ability, giving you suddenly a roughly, 4 or 5 man squad, which of course are quite potent and difficult for an opponent to deal with. Though, again, there's also usually, again, in particular up against the Orbital Commanders, you usually sneak out a universal carrier to pressure bag at them, because the Orbital Commanders lacks any ways of really dealing with it, since they do not have access to immediate Panzerfaust. So going for a universal carrier usually force them to go for like Kednev, meaning they got less infantry to fight against your infantry, and even then get rid of the universal carrier with like Kednev, your infantry is still going to be there, and like Kednev is not going to be able to deal with your infantry. So in this regard, the universal carrier as the Orbital Commander West is usually for a lot of British players a very good choice, and again, it forces the Orbital Commanders to have to deal with, and again, means they can't deal with your sections nearly as well. So that is some variations there, but again, most British players, even if they go for the universal carrier, will still go for like 3 or 4 sections. While Vickers do see some play from some players, they've all dropped off because the infantry section is just that good, really. And also, when you get bolstered, it becomes even better. And the Vickers does not benefit from the bolster upgrade either. So, for a lot of British players, it's just mostly going for a lot of sections. Some players go for early grenades and, bolted sections. Grenades go very well together, can do a lot of damage to your opponent, particularly if they're not anticipating it. And, quickly clear out huge gaps in your opponent's line. That way push, further through, and particularly again supported by the universal carrier. Otherwise, usually after you got those few sections, it's straight into the support or the platoon command post. Snipers do some usage from some players, they're not all. It's more typically you'll just go for a bunch of sappers for further support, and again they also benefit from the bolster upgrades, so of course they become tougher as well for your opponent to deal with. And usually also a chance for the AEC armored car, since that's also a pretty good choice, and depending on the situation, of course, is also pretty difficult for your opponent to deal with. So that's sort of how a lot of the British openings sort of look at the moment. Bren guns also usually happen, but not necessarily so fast. But they are more common to see than, for example, just, Mel bombs. But again, Mel bombs do happen for some British players, and they can be quite explosive. Ha ha ha. Doctrinally, there's not so much there. I mean, some will go for special weapons, early tank hunters, if they're sort of really worried about that. Otherwise, maybe mobile assault and flamethrowers. Vanguard is also common doctrine, but doesn't see so much use early on. They can use it for raid operation, maybe a fort logistics glider, but that's a lot rarer. Overall, a lot of British players don't really use the doctrines early on, and part of that's because a lot of the doctrines don't particularly fit the early game very well, so that is a bit important to keep in mind. So there's sort of less interaction between those two facets of the British army in the early game. Of course, mid to late game, that's much more things happening, but that's not all we're here to discuss. In this game, here Stefan going for the sniper, again usually pretty good in some situations. Your opponent has machine guns, like you can still use them to clear them out, or of course just press your opponent, bleed him out, slow him down, and of course further support your infantry. So that, I think, sort of overall covers a lot of these sort of, shall we say, standard British openings. I mean, there might be some variations here and there. Some do, for example, go for like 2 Vickers machine guns, maybe just 2 sections, then fast tech. But overall, what all the British situations in most cases have common, unless they're going for like 3 or 4 sections, bolstering them, they will usually take up pretty fast immediately and pushing for that, in which case they'll soon try pushing for the company command post and try to push out like a 9 to 10 minute centaur. So that would just sort of further finish off things. Particularly if they're really doing well, a 9 to 10 minute centaur is very possible and can really do a lot of damage. Particularly when you're pushing with bolted sections, your opponent's going to be struggling dealing with that, and then the centaur can usually just sort of waltz in and destroy everything. So those are some things worth keeping in mind here, and should hopefully give you some ideas how to start up your own when you're playing as a British, but also maybe give some Wehrmacht and Oberkommandos players some, maybe ideas how to counter it. So I might make some videos with further sort of specifics on that. So there you go, another Propagandacast Lehr. Again, this time covering British openings. Hopefully this has been of use to you. Hopefully it's been insightful. If it has, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. This is Imperial Dane signing off, and see you another time for another video. Cheers.